evening and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air, bringing you information about your library and your community. And this evening my guest is Kristan McKinsey from the Riverfront Museum, and I'm so excited that she's here. We're on the verge of the opening.
We are, and I'm so impressed you remembered to say the right name.
I did!
I'm still learning. After 16 years, my instinct is, but yes, Peoria Riverfront Museum is going to open on October 20th.
I know, so exciting. And so I'm excited that I was able to grab you as a guest and get you here when you're so busy.
We're installing, but I wanted to be sure that your viewers had a little preview, and of course I'll come back. You've already invited me back, and I can't talk about everything today. So.
Yeah, there's so much, but I think library lovers are museum lovers too.
That's right.
I'm sure our viewers are going to be excited. So I'm going to let you just start.
Okay. Today what I thought I would do is talk a little bit about what we're going to do in terms of showcasing our collections.
Okay.
That's a new museum, but we're building on the Lakeview Museum tradition, and the Lakeview Museum collections are at our disposal. We're in charge of them. And we have a larger space dedicated simply to our gallery. Our permanent collection, and then our changing exhibit space is larger as well.
Oh, nice.
Plus, we have what we're calling dispersed exhibits, and these are some cases along the some of the hallways where we can show some smaller things, and in a way you can get closer to them because they're shallow cases, so you can kind of get your nose right up,
really
and
look.
It can be very focused, and we can change it very readily. So. And we have a lot to install, and we've just gotten the building turned over to us. So, as I said, things will be coming along a little bit in stages, but there's so much to see. I guess I should just give a quick summary.
Yeah, please do.
We'll have our changing feature gallery is going to open with a group of works from our collection from the Whites, who were donating their Southwest art collection to us. So we did a big show 4 years ago. We're going to do a small show with some new works for people to see. And then the big feature in there is local artists, and we'll talk about that probably when I come back. The CHOW organization, or Central Illinois Artist Organization, worked with us because they have a good network, but we opened it up to any artist in the Tri-County area. Any working artist right now, any medium of fine arts, and had over 300 submissions.
Oh, nice.
And so we have selected a group of works from that. From our permanent collection, what we want to do is celebrate how we got here, basically. And so we're going to do a 2-part exhibit. Open the first part now, and we're going to be looking at how the collection grew. So one item basically from each year of the acquisition of acquiring works, and then I'll talk a little bit about, some years there was a whole new collection came to us, or a whole new avenue to add to our collecting parameters, sort of thing, or one particular donor or collector gave us a lot of things that was a defining moment in the museum's history. So we'll start with the first basically 25 years, and then in about 9 months we'll switch it and bring it up to the present. Nice. And then of course folk art, and we'll have a much larger gallery again for our permanent folk art collection, which is part of what makes us different than any other museum in the state.
Right. And what a great place to be on the river.
Yes, well, because you're thinking of our decoy collection.
Well, and actually I was just thinking of the river as transportation for early Illinois and the roots of folk art. And
one of our galleries, one of the galleries that we worked with an outside designer on is called the Illinois River Encounter. And there you will learn, and I'll come back if you let me. We'll talk about the history of the river and how it has, from the geological formation of this region, the ecosystems, the hunting tradition, so decoys, the trapping tradition, river rats, that kind of thing, the sort of health of the river over the last century, and how we've cleaned the river up, and we're restoring different ecosystems with places like Emaquan, and then talking about the future of the river. And then we also talk about how the river has been used for transportation, as you mentioned, barge, what it's like to be a barge worker, riverboats, but then also how we have worked the river in terms of dams and locks and dams to be able to improve transportation, and then levees to try to control flooding and the impact that has. And this is one of the first times we've announced publicly that we are going to have an aquarium, a 400-gallon aquarium with live fish.
Wonderful.
As well. We have a gallery that's based on the Illinois High School Association. So things like achievement in sports, but also achievement in Scholastic Bowl, music competitions, speech competitions, and there are ways that you can come and try your hand at the high jump or shooting a basketball and compare it to state records throughout the state, different schools, or you can see what it's like to compete in a Scholastic Bowl. Then there's a hands-on area, Discovery Worlds for little kids, and then the other history part that you kind of touched on is called The Street, and that's opening with a focus on innovation and entrepreneurship, but going through Peoria's history from the native settlement up to the present with interactives, things to listen to, bicycles, and this is an exhibit gallery that will change every couple of years with a new theme. So, but anyway, we should talk about the collection, as I said, and brought a few images with me just to give you, your visitors and your viewers, a bit of an idea. We will have paintings, of course, and the first image I have is a Headley Waycott fall view, autumnal view, over the trees towards the Illinois River, basically from Grandview Drive, sort of thing. A local artist, very popular, and we'll have that up. So again, the local tradition and how important that is, and the river relationship to us. We talk in a lot of the galleries and through the collection actually about how over time, how civilization has developed over time and how we build on innovations of going from being hunter-gatherers to farming, to ceramic pots, to different types of transportation, and just how civilization has developed over time and how much innovation has happened here. My next object that I brought is not from Illinois, but it's an American. It's a pottery vase from the Rookwood Pottery, which is very well known in Ohio. So I want to make the point that our collection is not just about paintings and sculptures and prints, but we have a lot of decorative arts as well. One thing I didn't mention, we will also have our studio art glass on view. It's the 50th anniversary year of the development of this, which is taking glass production, not just what you have your juice glass. Well, think about Dale Chihuly. We've talked about Dale Chihuly before. And other people like him who are really making these very sculptural objects. And so museums all across the country are celebrating this revival of hand-making beautiful works of art out of glass, not in a factory setting, but something that an individual artisan can do from design to production.
We have some great glass artists here in Peoria, too.
We do, and in fact we're going to have Hiram, one of Hiram Torreson's work is in our collection, so that will be on view. And of course there's other glass in the Chow exhibit as well, yes. That is very important. So, so things like this vase are pretty wonderful. I also brought an image of two much earlier. These are 17th century Italian ceramic ewers, and the sort of thing that someone of great taste might have had. And in fact, these were donated to us by Annette Clemenceau. Who came here. She had been married to the son of Premier Clemenceau, Francis Premier Clemenceau, and retired here because her sister was living in town, and recognized the importance of bringing the outside world to Peoria. And so donated her furniture and decorative arts collection to the museum.
Oh, nice.
And that's one of the stories that we'll be telling. Yes. Very generous. And so, many of us don't, if we don't travel as much, we can see a little bit of that here. So, and then a rather odd painting I brought, a rather surreal image. Gertrude Abercrombie, who was a artist in Chicago, and we featured her last year in our Illinois Women Artist exhibit.
I remember.
We have one of her works in the collection. Her figures tend to be figures of herself, and it's, as you can see, it's rather odd with a lone woman sitting at an empty table and a horse sticking his head through the window across the way. But she had a very, very personal vision. But we are lucky in our collection to be able to cover a lot of different stylistic changes over time, and look at the course of art history, look at the course of design changes. Again, always wanting to spark the curiosity of our visitors, young and old, and let them see kind of what's come before and see how they'll be inspired.
That's exciting.
As well. So folk art you mentioned before.
Yes.
Now when we open, I won't have all the folk art on view yet. We need to take a little more time to get that done correctly and as beautiful as we can. But what do you think of when you think of our folk art collection?
I think of your duck decoys.
That's right.
And then
so
your coverlets.
Here we are. Here's
My
a duck
favorites.
decoy. We do have the largest publicly accessible collection of Illinois River duck decoys and related material. So, of course, I had to bring a Purdue for you to see here.
Yes.
And we will have a lot of those on display. And actually, both in our folk art gallery and then in the river gallery, we have the opportunity, when we're talking about hunting, to have a lot more decoys on display. And I'm very excited about one of the interactives in there, which we're calling Duck, Duck, Goose. That was
the
a childhood
children's game. Yes.
Well, here it's an ID project. So you have an image of a decoy, and you have to guess what the species is. And you have 3 choices. And if you get it wrong, of course, you have to try again.
Yes.
And if you get it right, then you get a photo of a real duck of that species comes up, some information about it, so you can learn something about how it lives, what it eats, how social it is, and then you can push another part of the screen and you can hear what it sounds like.
Oh, fun.
So that's a really fun way for those of us who maybe don't hunt to still learn our ducks, get our ducks in a row.
Well, some of us who don't hunt are outdoors and may see these things and hear them, or go down, the colors are beautiful. You want to go down by the river. How nice to be able to
we have
to learn a little bit
place
more.
Where you can see a little bit what it's like to be in a blind to duck hunt, and we've got some calls you can do as well. And of course, as you said, coverlets. Well done.
My favorite.
And this is our newest one that we've just added to the collection by William Phasic, who worked in northern Illinois, but actually a lot of family ended up in the Delavan area. And your viewers might just want to take a little peek here and see that what makes this one different than most of the others we have is one of the borders has 2-story buildings on it, and you don't expect that in a rural area, really, to see this very urban design. And it's the only one by him with this pattern, and usually they would repeat a pattern. It's only the second one we know of being made in Illinois out of about 160, 170 coverlets. But we do know it was used in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And we do know that his son-in-law used it in Indiana. So they brought the pattern cards with them, and maybe this one client wanted it and no one else did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. Yeah, fun.
Well, you wonder what buildings those were based on, what big city or
probably. Yes, you do, and we're guessing it's probably Philadelphia, something like that.
Okay.
But maybe, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
We also in our folk art collection have paintings, and Alfred Montgomery, and I brought in one of his images, were very popular. He was an itinerant painter going through this area. They were painted locally, always have corn in them. This one you can see a basket with the corn spilling out. Sometimes there's other animals as well, and they were popular with farmers, and many of them still belong to farmers. We have a small collection, and in the folk art gallery. We will be able to feature specific artists pretty much on a regular basis.
That'll be great.
Obviously the decoy carvers, but things like Alfred Montgomery, Louis Lucier. The next image, the next image that I have is an architectural element that you're familiar with from our old museum. It was in the library, and it's a big tympanum that was over the large window of a photographer's studio in Shenoa. And the big window, of course, let the light in, and if you look carefully, you'll see that the central figure in this carved wood piece is a photographer, a classical woman, but she's got a camera on a tripod. And this was 100 years ago, so the kind of camera you would have seen then. Yeah. And then on one side, there's a figure, and this is very patriotic, really, in a way. It makes you think of the seal of the United States, but there's a figure of science and a figure of the arts. And so we've been thrilled to have this because it kind of represents a lot of our mission. Art, science, history, and achievement.
Oh, neat.
It's all right there in that one piece.
And how did you acquire that piece?
This was a gift from Merle Glick, who was with Caterpillar professionally, but for the last 40 years has been collecting folk art and lecturing on it. He's really been the premier collector of Illinois folk art, and much of his collection has come to us. He's the reason that the museum has a folk art collection. He got us started and has been really helpful too in finding donations from his collecting friends around the state.
Nice.
And so he's got us started with the coverlets, he got us started with the decoys, and this is something that he rescued from that building. It was being remodeled. It had been a owner, after the original owner had covered up this piece with plywood. They were doing some renovations and Merle found out about it, was able to rescue it, have some little minor repairs done, and then we've had it in our collection since 1998, I guess.
Wow.
So for quite a while.
Exciting.
And it's the size of it, it's quite large.
Yeah.
And that kind of object you love to have, as well as smaller objects, because it makes such a statement.
Yes.
So it's going to have a very permanent place in our folk art gallery,
That'll
which
be
everyone
wonderful.
can love.
That'll be wonderful.
I don't know how much more time I have to keep going.
Yeah, you've got a while.
Okay. Well, we talked earlier, the last image that I guess I have is an early pot made in the Maison Creek area, Crable site. And so it dates from 700 years ago, maybe a little older, but actually it's older than that. It's woodland, I guess. And showing it to talk, as I mentioned again, that the change in lifestyle, the growth of civilization, the movement from a hunter and gatherer where you don't need to store lots of food to when you're farming it and you are not moving anymore. So you need to have a place to keep your harvest good over the winter, so it doesn't go bad, spoil before you have time to use it. And or maybe be able to carry things more. And good clay in this area to make good pots. The Indians did it, and then as the white settlers came, they found these good clay deposits, and some very important pottery was made in Peoria that we'll talk about as well. But so this is again a real historic item, and so sort of how we got from then to here. So it's real important too.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We will also have dispersed exhibits that talk about our African collection,
Okay.
our Peruvian, pre-Columbian Peruvian items, and then our natural science collections. We will have more space now for a dedicated space. It's always for minerals and fossils, and a dedicated space for our insect collection. And we've just received a large gift to our insect collection too. So we're really excited to be able to have more of that on view as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So. And then other little changing areas where I expect to be able to actually use small collections that people in the community have or a business has, and I will rotate those on an irregular basis. Again, to just inspire our visitors in the galleries. Maybe we inspire you to make something of your own, whether it's painting or ceramic or glass or beadwork, who knows, or inspire you to collect.
Right.
As well.
Yeah, all of those, or even just to read about it,
Yes,
which of course
that's true.
You can come to the library and we're going to have information on
Right.
almost anything. And if we don't, we'll get it for you.
That's right. We
So
also
people may not understand that if it's not right there, we'll find it for you.
Library loan and all of that.
Yeah.
We also are going to be able in the larger museum now to do more programming based on our
that'll be
collections,
great.
not just on our changing exhibits, but do more programming based on all of the collections and all of the subjects, and try to give you more reason to come visit downtown on the riverfront.
Yeah,
right there.
It'll be great. Do you have any programs planned yet, or is that something that you kind of had to hold your breath and wait a little bit?
There will be some programming starting in November.
Okay.
And the second week in November, I'm going to be giving a gallery walk on the collections, I believe. And people should watch the website. That will be live by the opening to see programming there. Feel free to call 686-7000, same number, and we'll be getting that out more. Right now we're working on getting everything installed and working on some soft openings to make sure our signage was working, that people are having a good experience.
Yeah, people can get there. And what about classes? You used to do classes.
We have more classes now, so we'll be
good.
able to do more classes. We still have the pottery kiln, so we can do drawing and pottery and clay, and there's be opportunities to do some glass, I think some small
smaller glass pieces,
torch work, and then I think we'll have the opportunity to do more sort of subject-based lecture series. It's wonderful that we can coordinate with other organizations like the library, like Bradley, like the Historical Society. We really are looking forward to having collaborations where we co-plan events at our facility or at your facilities.
Right, that go hand in hand.
And we're already doing that. You've had Ken Ziersky on talking about the wreck of the Columbia. We have scheduled him. He'll be giving a talk very soon because we feature that as one of the stories in the River Gallery.
Oh, yeah, so, important story. So
they are.
Fortuitous that he just happened to write his book right now.
I know, we're very thrilled. So.
Yeah. Now, do you have a museum store?
We do.
I hope I'm not getting into way off your collections, but these are things people want to know.
All things that work together to support our mission.
People like to shop. They come, they see, and then they want some.
I do too. We do. Again, we'll continue our tradition of having jewelry, functional objects made by local artists, books, lots of things for kids, a lot of things that relate to our planetarium, to shows that we're going to be having in our giant screen theater. More now that we've added history and achievement to our mission, there's more subject matter to follow in terms of stocking the store, and just so much more. You can the store is right there at the main entrance to the museum. You can see it as you drive past, so we'll tempt you. You can come visit the store without having to pay admission to the museum, just as before. So I know that they're prepared for Christmas shopping already.
Good.
We want to take advantage of that. We also are starting to work on more products based on our own collection.
Oh, good.
Note cards, coloring book, that will be a way to take a memory home of your exhibit in addition to any photographs you might take while you were there.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And we should talk about what is admission.
Admission is $11 for the general adult, and that gets you all of the gallery experiences plus planetarium show. And unlike before, we will have planetarium shows every day of the week.
Oh, good.
And then an extended schedule on the weekend. We let me say too, while we're still talking about admission prices, there is a reduced price for seniors and for children, and then anyone who is a resident of Peoria County can ask for a discount as well.
Okay.
And then giant screen theater is an additional admission. So we will have some of the large exhibits that we're going to be able to bring into the feature gallery will cost us enough that we need to charge an additional small surcharge, but we'll keep that very affordable. That shouldn't keep anybody away. And I did want to mention that we are open 2 evenings a week now, both Thursdays and Fridays until 8 p.m.
Oh, good. That'll make it easier.
It is. Yes, that'll be wonderful.
That'll be wonderful.
So, and then Saturdays and Sundays we're open as well.
I know that the giant theater was a topic of discussion for a long time. How soon will you be having a show there?
At the opening, I believe.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
we're ready to have opening.
Are you allowed to say what it is, or are we still waiting?
I would be allowed, I think, but I'm sorry.
You don't know what it is.
I've been historic with I hate to say I don't know something, Tricia. Again, check the website.
Okay.
Give a call. I am very sorry. I don't know that right now.
That's all right.
Something for me to learn.
We'll just pretend it's a secret.
That's right. Okay. I should have said that. There will be a lot of publicity. Don't worry. There will be a lot of publicity. And those shows will run in the evening even after museum is closed on the weekends.
Yeah, we're doing that at the library some too, where we're using our auditorium to show movies or for big events even after the library closes.
We're looking at educational, we're looking at purely entertainment, we're looking at old movies, documentaries, and of course eventually we're looking at having live feed events going on there as well.
That's exciting.
And it will be an experience unlike anybody else has ever had because it's brand new technology. The intensity of the pixels, the intensity of the color, so the clarity, the movement, it's just phenomenal.
Do you think they'll show this show there?
We can ask.
I don't know if I want my pixels dialed in that closely.
I don't know if you want to be 70 feet wide.
Probably not. It was a thought,
Thank you. Thank you for the vote of confidence.
Yes. Exciting. What can you tell us about any of the grand opening activities or events? Is there an opportunity for people, say, to come in for free the first time?
I'm afraid that we won't be able to. Oh, it's going to be a regular day.
Okay.
There's so much value there,
Yeah.
but if you want, you can buy a membership, and then the membership, of course, gives you free admission all year long to our exhibits.
Which is probably the best bargain of all.
It is, to the planetarium shows. Plus, we still have the reciprocal admission with other science centers around the country, almost 400 of them. So with your Peoria Riverfront Museum membership, go to the field and get it free admission, general admission, travel all around the country. You can get a membership that would include your grandchildren if you want. So there's a lot to be said for getting a membership right up front.
Yes.
And then really, bring friends and that sort of thing. We have parking underground now so that you're out of the wind. There's a parking structure and it's shared. You can, from that, access our facility or the Caterpillar Visitor Center right across the plaza. We will have shared activities on the plaza as well. On opening day, we open to the public at 10, regular hours. We will have a variety of special events going on that day with the Heartland Foundation Square Dancers performing, costumed interpreters, and a lot of other activities, music.
Exciting, exciting. Thanks so much for pausing
Thank
all
you.
this getting ready and coming on.
Thank you.
It's exciting. Well, everybody is looking forward to the opening of the museum, and now we've got a little taste of what's going to be there, and I personally can't wait. And the library and the museum are partners hand in hand. You can, go to the museum, come and research things further. We're always going to be working with them and to enrich your life and enrich your knowledge and experience of all the things there are to celebrate around Peoria and to learn about and do. So we'll see you next week on Information Please.